In this presentation, I want to tackle a common dilemma. Does spending $50 on a premium pre-workout deliver better results than a $20 tub? We'll compare what you actually get at both price points and whether that translates into meaningful performance gains. The goal is to move beyond marketing and look at what's inside the scoop: ingredients, doses, transparency, and cost per effective dose. By the end of our discussion, you'll know how to evaluate formulas on their merits rather than their price tags. To start, let's explore why the price of pre-workouts can vary so widely.
Not all price differences are created equal. Clinically dosed formulas require more raw material, so you need more citrulline or beta-alanine per scoop to match research doses. Branding and marketing also play a role. Premium brands invest in sleek design, fancy packaging, and influencer sponsorships. Complex formulas with pumps, endurance aids, and cognitive boosters require more ingredients, each adding to cost. Higher ingredient purity and specialty compounds, such as alpha-GPC, can be more expensive because they meet stricter quality standards. Finally, economies of scale matter. Large volume brands can negotiate lower prices and accept smaller retail margins, while niche brands often operate with higher costs. Understanding these variables sets the stage for examining what a typical budget product looks like. A budget pre-workout usually costs around $20 for 30 to 40 servings, roughly 67 cents per scoop. To keep costs down, manufacturers limit the number of ingredients and often focus on caffeine, which is inexpensive yet provides a noticeable boost. Proprietary blends are common. They list ingredients but not the exact amounts, making it difficult to verify whether the formula meets clinical ranges. Caffeine content typically falls between 200 and 300 milligrams per scoop, with little else to support pump, endurance, or cognition. While these products can deliver a short-term energy kick, they may not provide the full spectrum of performance benefits you're after. Now let's see how that compares to a premium pre-workout profile. Premium pre-workouts sit at the other end of the spectrum, often costing around $50 for 20 to 30 servings, or about $1.67 per scoop. They emphasize open labels and transparency, listing the exact dose of each ingredient so you can compare it to clinical ranges. The formulas are more complex, combining robust nitric oxide boosters, endurance aids, and cognitive ingredients. The raw materials are typically higher purity or patented variants. For example, alpha-GPC for choline or buffered creatine forms. When you pay more, you're not just buying more caffeine, you're paying for full doses of multiple ingredients and the research behind them. Next, let's dive into why ingredient dosing is the key factor in a product's efficacy. A pre-workout's effectiveness depends not just on what's in it, but how much. Having citrulline on a label means nothing if there's only a gram per scoop. Research shows that nitric oxide production increases when citrulline is dosed between 6 and 10 grams. Beta-alanine must reach at least 3 grams to raise muscle carnosine levels, while creatine works best at 3 to 5 grams daily. Caffeine's ergogenic range falls between 3 and 6 milligrams per kilogram of body weight. When formulas fall below these clinical ranges, you're unlikely to experience the performance benefits demonstrated in trials. Dosing matters because your body responds to sufficient amounts. Skimping on quantities just saves the manufacturer money. Let's identify which ingredients have the strongest evidence behind them. When evaluating a pre-workout, look for compounds with strong scientific backing. L-citrulline converts to arginine and boosts nitric oxide production, enhancing blood flow and the muscle pump. Creatine saturates muscle phosphocreatine stores, supporting strength and power output. Beta-alanine increases carnosine levels, buffering acidity, and allowing you to squeeze out more repetitions. Caffeine blocks adenosine receptors, increasing alertness and delaying fatigue during both endurance and strength efforts. Tyrosine and alpha-GPC serve as precursors for neurotransmitters, supporting cognitive function and focus. These ingredients work together when appropriately dosed, providing a more complete performance boost than caffeine alone. However, many budget formulas don't come close to the necessary amounts, as we'll see next. If you compare a typical budget label to clinical dose ranges, a pattern emerges. Crucial ingredients are underrepresented. Instead of 6 to 8 grams of citrulline, you might see just 2 or 3 grams. Or worse, a proprietary blend with unknown amounts. Beta-alanine may appear in doses as low as 2 grams, far below the 3-gram threshold needed to elevate carnosine. Creatine is often absent altogether or dosed at 1 to 2 grams, too low to sustain saturation. This underdosing means you can't expect the performance gains seen in research, no matter how flashy the marketing. To illustrate the problem, let's examine a budget formula in detail. Imagine a budget pre-workout that contains 30 servings for $20. The label shows a proprietary blend that may include citrulline, beta-alanine, and other compounds, but the total weight is only 4 grams. With no individual amounts disclosed, you can't tell whether you're getting more than a token dose. The caffeine content sits between 200 and 300 milligrams, providing a strong subjective kick. At 67 cents per scoop, it looks like a bargain. However, to reach 8 grams of citrulline or an effective beta-alanine dose, you'd need to double or triple scoop. Suddenly, the cost per effective dose climbs past $1. This hidden cost makes the budget option less of a steal than it appears. Let's contrast that with a premium example. Consider a premium pre-workout with 20 servings for $50, about $2.50 per scoop. The label lists every ingredient: 6 grams of citrulline, 3.2 grams of beta-alanine, 5 grams of creatine, 200 milligrams of caffeine, and 600 milligrams of alpha-GPC. The formula combines pump, endurance, and cognitive support in clinically dosed amounts. There's no guesswork. You know exactly what you're getting and can adjust your intake accordingly. While the cost per scoop is higher, you don't need to double the serving to reach effective doses, and you won't need to buy separate pump or creatine products. When judged on value per effective dose, this more expensive tub may actually deliver a better return. Next, let's discuss the strategy of relying heavily on caffeine as a cheap shortcut. Caffeine is inexpensive and undeniably effective at making you feel awake and ready. Budget pre-workouts take advantage of this by packing in high doses, sometimes 300 milligrams or more. While this provides a strong mental buzz, research shows that performance improvements plateau at moderate doses of 3 to 6 milligrams per kilogram. Pushing past that doesn't significantly increase strength or endurance, but does ramp up side effects: jitteriness, elevated heart rate, anxiety, and post-workout crashes. When caffeine is the only active in your supplement, you're missing out on pump and endurance ingredients that could sustain your effort. To see how formulas differ in this regard, let's compare pump ingredients in budget and premium products. Nitric oxide boosters deliver the coveted pump, improved blood flow that can enhance performance and recovery. Budget formulas might include a generic 4-gram blend containing citrulline, arginine, and fillers. Without exact doses, it's impossible to know if you're getting anywhere near the 6 to 8 grams of citrulline malate shown to elevate nitric oxide levels. Premium formulas typically provide pure citrulline malate in that clinical range, sometimes paired with nitrates for an added vasodilation effect. If your goal is a pronounced pump, you'll need those higher amounts. A minor dose hidden in a blend won't produce the same results. Now let's examine how the two categories differ in their endurance ingredients. Endurance isn't just about pushing through mental fatigue. It relies on biochemical buffering and energy replenishment. Budget pre-workouts often include only 2 grams of beta-alanine and may completely omit betaine or creatine. Such small amounts won't sufficiently raise carnosine levels or support ATP regeneration. Premium formulas provide the full 3.2 to 6 grams of beta-alanine needed to buffer acidity and incorporate betaine and 3 to 5 grams of creatine to enhance strength and repeated sprints. Dosing makes the difference. With the right amounts, your muscles can sustain high output for longer, whereas token doses do little beyond marketing. Cognitive support is another area where premium products stand out, which we'll cover next. Cognitive ingredients help keep your mind sharp when your body is under stress. Budget pre-workouts typically skip them altogether or include a sprinkle of tyrosine that's too low to have a measurable impact. Premium formulas often supply 600 milligrams of alpha-GPC, a choline source linked to improved lower body force, and adequate amounts of tyrosine to support catecholamine synthesis. Having these nootropics at therapeutic doses can improve focus and mental drive without relying solely on stimulants. They complement pump and endurance ingredients to create a well-rounded performance boost. Unfortunately, proprietary blends can conceal underdosing, which brings us to the next issue: transparency. Proprietary blends are a loophole that lets companies list a group of ingredients with only the total weight disclosed. While legal under U.S. labeling regulations, this practice prevents you from knowing how much of each active compound you're actually consuming. All you see is a list in descending order by weight. The effective ingredients may be present only in trace amounts, while cheaper fillers take up most of the blend. Without knowing individual dosages, you can't judge whether the formula meets clinical ranges or just contains fairy dust of performance agents. Transparent labels empower you to make informed decisions. After understanding these label pitfalls, let's look at how ingredient costs influence pricing. Not all ingredients are created equal in terms of cost. Caffeine and beta-alanine are extremely inexpensive, pennies per gram, which is why they dominate budget formulas. Premium ingredients like citrulline malate, alpha-GPC, and patented creatine forms cost significantly more to manufacture. For example, creatine monohydrate costs about 12 cents per gram, whereas a buffered or HCl form might cost 26 cents, a 116% increase. These higher ingredient costs partly explain higher prices, but a hefty price tag doesn't automatically guarantee quality. A premium formula still needs to deliver clinical doses of these ingredients to justify its cost. This leads us to a practical measure: cost per effective dose. Let's quantify value with an example. A budget pre-workout costs $20 for 30 servings, about 67 cents per scoop. However, if each scoop provides only 4 grams of citrulline, you'd need 2 scoops to reach an 8-gram effective dose, raising the cost to $1.34 per workout. A premium tub costs $50 for 20 servings, $2.50 per scoop, and contains 6 grams of citrulline. To reach 8 grams, you might need 1.3 scoops, costing around $3.25 per effective dose. The price gap narrows when you account for dosing. Underdosed budget products may become more expensive than they first appear once you adjust for effective doses. Beyond price, taste and marketing can influence perception as well. Taste and branding can dramatically influence your impression of a supplement. Premium products often use natural flavors and sweeteners to make each scoop enjoyable, investing in sophisticated flavor systems that mask bitterness. They also position themselves as lifestyle brands, associating their products with elite athletes or aspirational aesthetics. These branding and marketing efforts, sponsorships, endorsements, and shelf placement fees add to the final price. While a great taste and sleek packaging enhance the experience and adherence, they don't change the underlying efficacy of the ingredients. It's important to separate sensory appeal from performance value. After considering marketing, let's identify scenarios where a budget pre-workout might still make sense. Budget pre-workouts aren't inherently worthless. They can be a sensible choice in specific contexts. If you're new to training or particularly responsive to caffeine, a straightforward energy boost may be all you need to get through your workouts. For students or anyone on a tight budget, a $20 tub can provide weeks of perceived energy. Another strategy is to stack a basic pre-workout with separate pump or creatine products, allowing you to customize doses over time. As long as you understand that you're primarily paying for caffeine and adjust your expectations accordingly, budget formulas can serve as an entry point. For more serious or advanced needs, premium formulas may be advantageous, which we'll explore next. Premium pre-workouts come into their own when you're training seriously and want to optimize every variable. Full clinical dosing of citrulline, beta-alanine, creatine, and nootropics provides a tangible performance edge for strength, pump, and endurance. If you're balancing work, training, and life, buying individual supplements and mixing them yourself can be inconvenient. A premium formula delivers everything in one scoop. Advanced lifters who have already dialed in their nutrition and recovery often seek marginal gains, those extra repetitions or slight increases in workload that clinically dosed formulas can provide. In these cases, paying more for convenience and completeness makes sense. No matter which option you consider, you need a consistent method for evaluating any product. Evaluating a pre-workout doesn't have to be complicated. Start by reading the supplement facts panel and comparing each ingredient amount to clinical ranges. If citrulline is below 6 grams or beta-alanine under 3 grams, consider it underdosed. Look for transparent labels that list each ingredient and its specific dose rather than hiding behind proprietary blends. Cross-check the included compounds against peer-reviewed research or position stands from organizations like the International Society of Sports Nutrition. Finally, calculate the cost per effective dose rather than per scoop. This reveals whether a low-priced product remains economical once you adjust for clinical amounts. Keeping these criteria in mind allows you to cut through marketing and make informed choices. Let's summarize the key lessons. Price tags can be misleading. A cheap pre-workout can be effective if it contains clinically dosed amounts of proven ingredients, whereas an expensive formula can be little more than overpriced caffeine. The dose makes the difference. Look for 6 to 10 grams of citrulline, 3 to 6 grams of beta-alanine, 3 to 5 grams of creatine, and appropriately calculated caffeine. Transparency is non-negotiable. Without a clear label, you're left guessing. Cross-check ingredients against reliable sources and use cost per effective dose as your financial yardstick. Making these assessments ensures you invest in products that genuinely support your training rather than hype. To close, remember that the formula matters more than the price. The question isn't whether $20 or $50 is the right amount to spend. It's whether the formula delivers clinically proven ingredients in effective doses. Investing in your performance means understanding labels, knowing your numbers, and ignoring marketing noise. Learn to calculate effective doses and choose products that align with your goals and physiology rather than chasing the latest trend or celebrity endorsement. By judging a pre-workout on the merits of its formula rather than its price, you empower yourself to make smarter decisions and maximize your training. If you found this analysis helpful, stay tuned for more evidence-based supplement insights.